Welcome everyone. Mid-Murray Council would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land, the Ngadjuri, Nalong, Nangaraku, Ngarkat, Ngarrindjeri and Perenate peoples of the Mid-Murray lands and waters. It is upon their ancestral lands and waters that the Mid-Murray Council meets and operates, and Council pays respect to elders past and present and their spiritual beliefs that are of continuing importance to those First Nations peoples of today. Council further acknowledges the contributions and important role that First Nations peoples continue to play within the community, and we extend that respect to any peoples in attendance here today. Emergency procedures. Should there be a fire or other emergency, the alarm will sound and you will be asked to follow the directions of Council staff. Council meetings are live streamed through the Mid-Murray Council website. Attendance and participation in council meeting does not provide any councillors, council employees or member of the public protection from defamation in relation to behaviour or statements made. Individual opinions or statements made during council meetings are not the opinions or statements of council. A copy of today's agenda is available on the council's website. Members are reminded if they intend to move, second, speak or ask a question during the meeting, they need to clearly indicate their intention to speak by using their microphone system. It is important that members use their microphones appropriately so that those at home can hear. Members are reminded that the use of mobile phones during the meeting is not permitted, and I ask that you turn your phones off or to silent. We welcome visitors in the gallery and ask them to observe the meeting in respectful silence as the Chamber deliberates on matters that relate to the Mid-Murray Council. Council meetings are formal meetings that are subject to specific meeting procedures. This means that there are designated sections of the meeting, i.e. deputations, where members of the public can directly interact in the meeting, with the remainder of the meeting only providing the public with an opportunity to listen to the meeting proceedings in an observer role. Attendance, we had an apology from Councillor Hammond this morning. No staff on leave. Confirmation of minutes, there's two there. We've got the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 16th of December 2025 be taken as read and confirmed. We have a mover, Councillor McGregor, thank you. Councillor Barber, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on that motion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. And then the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 13th of January 2026 be taken as read and confirmed. Councillor Myers is moving that. Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Tochick-Peake. Does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Declaration of interest pursuant to Division 1 in Part 4 of Chapter 5 of the Local Government Act 1999. Council members are to disclose general or material conflicts in relation to items of business within the agenda. We just go around the room.
Yes, I have a material conflict of interest for item 12.4.
12.4. D. No. 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 Yeah. No. Perfect. Thank you. Business agenda nil, deputations. So, 7.1, community consultation, revocation of community land. Terry and Marilyn Schmidt are going to make a deputation in support of their submission as part of the community consultation revocation of community land. Please welcome Terry and Marilyn. Thank you. Oh. You can come up and sit at the end of the table.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Ben Scales, and senior staff and members of council for giving us the opportunity to speak to council's proposals re lot 155 Providence Drive, Bow Hill, and lots 164, 165 and 166 Schmidt Lane, Bow Hill. My name is Terry Schmidt and my wife's name is Marilyn Schmidt. We are permanent residents of Bow Hill, located on Providence Drive in the Bow Hill development. We have met before on the 21st of May 2024 when we were given the opportunity to speak to you following our submission to oppose the revocation of lot 153 Schmidt Lane, known to us as Katharina Reserve, since the vesting of roads and reserves for the Bogle development in 2003. We object to the revocation of lots 155, 164, 165 and 166, known to us as Industry Reserve, named after the paddle steamer industry, Burke and Bone Reserve, Headley Flower Reserve and Arthur Reserve respectively, all being named in relation to historical contributions to the Bogle development. You are in possession of our submission dated the 23rd of January 2026, in which we outline our reasons. The purpose of our deputation is to provide further visual information and to answer any questions that arise from our submission and deputation. We have with us today, again, the plan of the Bogle site freeholding project that was displayed on the 26th of July 2003 at the celebration of the vesting of roads and reserves in the development. You received copies of documents from that day at our deputation to you on the 21st of May 2024 regarding lot 153 Schmidt Lane, known as Katharina Reserve. Our desire is to review with you the aspects relevant to this deputation that are part of the development at Bow Hill. The main access road is Providence Drive. We have to swap here. I'm be pointing for things out and my wife is everybody able to see this in its present position?
Keep going.
Just keep going.
Okay, so it's Providence Drive. We have here Riverview Road. Providence Drive is this one that runs along here like this. And you continue, madam.
Okay. From Providence Drive to the Riverfront Crown Land Extend Reserve, it's named after paddle steamers, Captain Sturt Reserve, Royal Reserve, Lot 55, which is Industry Reserve.
155.
Is it 155? Sorry, and Gem Reserve.
Might I just say here, in my view, these reserves are like as important to the development as your vertebrae are to your spine. They are there specifically to enable access by the public, be it through the emergency services or just wanting to get in front of their holiday homes, but it gives them access from the road reserve to the Crown Land Reserve, section 700. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
The minor road and reserves relative to today's deputation are Schmidt Lane,
That's where it begins, parallels Providence Drive and exits back here. You can enter it coming from the southwest or travelling from the northeast at this end.
From that, you will see lot 164, Burke and Bone Reserve.
This is Birkenbone Reserve, that's 164.
Lot 165, Headley Flower Reserve,
Just one here,
and Lot 166, Arthur Reserve.
this one here.
And now we could go on with a PowerPoint display if we can have our computer linked up. Now, I'll just explain while we're waiting. These photos were taken yesterday on Australia Day long weekend. It's not the most heavily trafficked time for the holiday home development. Then you will find higher times of higher populations at Christmas, New Year's Eve, Easter, and the October long weekend. Yesterday was an extremely hot day, as we all know, and so many people actually didn't come up to the river. It was just too hot. And also people are going back to school today. So Australia Day was still a very popular weekend, and you'll be able to see there's quite a lot of occupation. Not as much as there are in other peak times. So these are representative of a more moderate occupation. And we start with our first slide at western entrance to Schmidt Lane, where you can see various vehicles parked. At the very entrance, Providence Drive is on the right, and Schmidt Lane curves around to the left. These are further photos as you come around the corner of Schmidt Lane where the vehicles are parked. Next slide, please. And this is then entering down Schmidt Lane. Now it's a little bit shady on the left-hand side where Schmidt Lane is, but you can see that the holiday homes on Schmidt Lane are built right up to the pretty much almost the edge of the lane. And so when people who occupy those sites and come with their visitors, their vehicles are parked onto Schmidt Lane or into the reserves, lot 160, what did I say, 165 or 164. But we've gone to 165 here in the photo. So this is one of them. And there you can see vehicles parked here as well. And it always depended how many vehicles are parked in a given reserve by where the occupation is next to the reserves and how many people are up. This shows Providence Drive near and south of lot 166, which is Arthur Reserve. And we can have the next slide. And you can see that white car on the right-hand side along Providence Drive. That was in the last photo. So you're coming down Providence Drive towards Arthur Reserve, lot 166, and you see the white vehicle there off the road parked. We can have the next slide, please. This is a photo of the private land, which is next to the reserve, and how the people are parking from their allotments on Providence Drive. And the next slide, please. Then you see from a distance here, going across that private lot, the Arthur Reserve or lot 166. And you can see the vehicles there. And in addition, people are having to park trailers, etc., on Providence Drive across from that reserve. Next slide, please. And there again, you'll see more parked. And then this is from the western boundary of the reserve, which you can see some posts there, giving the bounds of that reserve, and then coming back onto Providence Drive again. Next slide, please. And here we see Arthur Reserve adjoins Schmidt Lane from the southwest. You've got Providence Drive out of view on the right and Schmidt Lane on the left. And the entire reserve is filled with vehicles. Now, this is coming up is the video to travel from Schmidt Lane down Providence Drive from the western entrance of Schmidt Lane, which goes past Industry Reserve, which is lot 155. So you will see that yesterday you have multiple vehicles from different holiday home sites parked along Providence Drive, and you still have traffic coming and going on this same laneway. You have vehicles on the right and the left of Providence Drive. And just where all those trees are is where lot 155 is. And we try to turn our vehicle slightly as we're driving along to be able to let you see how lot 155 is covered in vehicles and boats, etc. Then we travel further down the road, and we aren't going to go the full length. We just wanted to have you see the extent to which vehicles occupy the public access areas in this development, and how critical it is for vehicles not to be on the road where people cannot see little ones coming and going, etc., even though there is a 30-kilometer-per-hour speed limit.
I think we get that.
Excellent.
Okay, and this is a still of that video clip of lot 155, Providence Drive Industry Reserve. Okay. Then the next slide is been given to us by Holiday Homer, and you can maybe put the sound on and just maybe go back up to the next slide and come back into that so you can hear what he's saying.
We've all been sent that one.
You've already seen it. Okay, very good. Right. So you will see that it's not only congestion on the roadsides, but congestion on the riverfront. And if the reserves are filled in, they will not provide access to people, to emergency service. Safety issues will rise tremendously. It's already a place where safety needs to be adhered to at the utmost. And to fill in these reserves, you are going to create a great risk. This development was made for those reserves to be there, knowing what the population was going to be. And I'll let Terry carry on now to further.
Well, I think the deputation's over because you only had 5 to 10 minutes, so we've gone well over that. So I think I might pass to elected members to ask questions to make sure that we get the most out of our time for the things they want to know. I guess my first question was those reserves intended to be parking in the first place? Were those reserves intended to be parking in that?
They were put there for public access and public use for parking.
Cool. Anyone else have any questions?
I'm just a little bit confused. So public access, but if there's cars parked on it, how is the emergency services going to get through? On all of those ones, is it
Okay.
there's a tent or a camp?
Yes, I was anticipating that question in the fact that, but they are there because they've got nowhere else to go, and but they need not, well, they should not be there. The point is that the sites are absolutely necessary, and they're also necessary to be kept vacant. So when these people that are presently taking the liberty of, blocking the access, when they're no longer able to be there, they're going to have to find somewhere else. And so that just compounds the whole problem.
If I may indulge council and can answer that question on behalf of Terry. The public emergency services access to the front is via these roads through here. So we've got Gerhardt Place, Terrace Place, Nathaniel Place. We'll go straight through to the ground in the front. In fact, the 2 days after Christmas, we had 2 ambulances come down through Gerhardt Place due to a skiing accident. Now they are always kept open. No cars are parked in those areas to allow access for the emergency services. They are these areas of the cell really allow access through to Schmidt Lane, but your access to your Crown Land in front is via those roads I've spoken of.
At that particular place. But as you can see, and site 155, which is I describe as a vertebrae to the spine as far as the necessity to the development. But in answer to your question, what needs to happen? Now, the question is who does the policing? And this is something for council to take on board, but these access areas need to be ensured that people don't park there. But it needs somebody with authority to be able to say that. And that's my answer. I hope that is helpful.
So to clarify, you're encouraging council to go in, do parking infringements?
Excuse me?
To undertake parking
I don't think
infringements?
so, Ben. I don't think so.
Oh,
At the moment, the policing of those access areas to the Crown Land are policed by the shacks on the side.
Yes.
And we do a pretty good job. I actually lease one of those shacks.
Yeah.
On the corner of Gerhardt Place. So they are always kept open, policed by those leaseholders or shack owners. But sometimes you will get some people come in that won't listen to those people. So at that point, we may ring council and ask for some assistance. But I think you'll find there's very few requests from any of the shareholders we council to do that.
Question one.
And emergency vehicles have access not only from Providence Drive, but from Schmidt Lane.
That's right.
So you've got either end, they don't necessarily have to have an absolute straight through these reserves here.
Just a question for me, sorry, Councillor Barber. You talk about the riverfront congestion. So how is that council's responsibility? Because that's on Crown land and that's going to happen. So my understanding is the suggestion is if we sell 155 and another shack goes there, it's going to create more issues along there.
Yes, that's the concern, is the fact that you can see that the only other access to the Crown Land Reserve downstream of Industry Reserve, note the distance there with no access to the riverfront. And so when you come to 155, working from Gem Reserve, that's the southernmost, southwesternmost one, when you come back, you can see that great interval there where there's no access at all. And then when you remove 155, there's no access until you get up to Royal Reserve. So that's almost half of the development that has no access to the riverfront. It might be a slight exaggeration, half, but you know.
All right, we need to wrap up. I think Councillor Barber has one last question.
Yeah, just in the photos and videos, there was obviously lots of trailers parked here, there and everywhere. I'm just wondering, is it a case of the shack owners not having enough provision for the storage of their trailers, or is it a case of multiple trailers per dwelling?
The latter.
Right, okay.
A lot of the time it's additional people coming in. So it's not just the check owners that are utilising this area, it's the business agents as well.
Yeah.
During peak periods. And it's just getting back to the CEO's mention. The congestion on the Crown Gate is already extreme. You remove that parking, that vehicle parking within those parks and try and push more congestion out there, you're just going to exaggerate the problem. I'd also just note that just recently the federal government's raised that the condition of the Lower Murray is an extreme condition. You're putting more pressure on those banks, which could well cause further riverbank collapse. Now, again, it may not be council's concern, but I would have thought that there are some responsibilities there to be considered.
Absolutely, is councillor's hands. I'm not sure adding potentially another couple of shacks is going to change that.
No,
Given
no.
the number of shacks and the number of boats that are already there. And the other thing is, general public don't use that area. It's only people from the shacks, even though it's Crown land. So no one's pulling up their boat in front of someone's shack, and recreating for the day.
But in
Just-
those reserves, access is very important. And with the development that is taking place in Lone Hill and the larger dwellings that have been developed, you have 30-meter long blocks, and the new planning authority allows the expanse of that 30 meters to be built on. People are having more people come to stay. It's just an evolving situation since the flood, particularly when there's been so much redevelopment of the dwellings.
Thank you.
There's just a massive influx of population.
Thank you. Okay, that's been
Excuse
half
me,
an hour.
Madam
It's been
Mayor,
half an
can
hour
I
now
just
for a
ask-
2-minute brief.
I had additional information prepared, and I understand because of the problems that we've had this morning.
No, I went way over without the problems. I think we've gone way over time. We've
Yes,
had-
I understand.
we need it to be really
Just,
to the point.
Can I ask, is it possible for me to distribute what I would
Yes.
otherwise have presented?
Yes, that would have been great to have done beforehand. I'll let council know that I do intend on seeking your approval to have a suspension of meetings procedure so we can discuss this before the item so that we don't have to remain in meeting procedures. So thank you very much for the deputation
Yes.
today. We will certainly discuss it during the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your patience with it.
No worries.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, computers first. Oh, it's closed down.
Can you scroll up?
Okay,
Petitions.
so we've got petitions now. The recommendation is the proposal to revoke classification of community land for lot 80 and Cahoven Place Young Husband. Report on the council agenda 27th of January be received. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you, councillor Barber. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, councillor Myers. Does anybody wish to speak on that? Councillor Barber wish to speak? No. Councillor Myers? No. Anybody else wish to speak? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Thank you. Nine point one.
You're right.
Yeah, sort of frozen. The recommendation for 9.1 is the monthly financial report, December 2025 report on the council agenda of 27 January 2026 be received. Do we have a mover for that? Thank you, councillor Barber. Seconder. Thank you, councillor Schultz. Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak on that? No. Councillor Schultz, do you wish to speak?
No.
No. Anybody else wish to speak on that item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Thank you. Item 10.1, the recommendation is the infrastructure and field services summary report on the council agenda of 27 January 2026 be received. We have a mover for that item. Thank you, councillor Myers. Councillor McGregor is seconding that. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak?
Only the thorough.
Thank you. Councillor McGregor, yes.
Yeah, just through the mayor. I just want to ask two things about it. The SLRP funding that we were unsuccessful of. When's the next round of that that we can apply for?
Through the mayor, the SLRP funding we applied for was for a supplement round, as it was undersubscribed, so we're unfortunately unsuccessful in that supplement round in this current year. We were successful earlier in the year for Morelands Road. We will be reapplying for that in the new year. In discussions with MRLGA, it should be coming around about March or April, so we'll be submitting something for the same project then.
And just the second question was with the automation of the standpipe, so the one at Sedan, so noted there's been 10 occasions where it's been accessed, tampered with. Do we get like does that mean that staff have to go out there and check it, or what sort of happens in that respect.
Through the chair, when we had as we're getting in the install, we're basically getting tamper-proof vandal alerts fitted to them. All they are is really alerts to where someone's trying to get into the system or trying to break a padlock. So it does alert us when someone's trying to do something to that project or to that infrastructure. Following the alerts we received the other day, I think it was about 10 within about 3 hours an hour. I did check it on the way home, and people were still using it. So it's more like a tampering of the system. Basically they go to a phone. But I suppose within the time frame of actually getting out there to catch someone would be a little bit difficult. But they were still operational after the tampering.
Thanks, Dave. Anybody else have any questions? Councillor Schultz.
Please, on the standpipe again, my favourite hobby. I've received some negative comments regarding the extra cost of the hose and fittings for card holders.
We can't close that door. Sorry, Marilyn.
Yeah.
It's
It's got to say,
it's a public meeting. Sorry. Start again. Start.
I've received some negative feedback concerning the extra cost of hose and fittings for card holders, which was made known only when the standpipe users actually went to get their card. Could this cost have been made known prior to that, so that people had time to budget for it? Because I know that there's been quite a few comments that people around the Sedan area are not going to use the standpipe. They'll use Twitter because they don't want to go through all the card holder and extra cost of the hose and fittings. So I wouldn't be surprised that Twitter gets hammered.
Dave.
Through the chair, the standpipes, I suppose, are made to be more uniform and more less risk averse, because basically what was happening with the previous standpipes is they could have been loading on a trailer with an IBC or locally here with a truck, which actually meant people had to climb on top of the vehicles to get them into the standpipe. We had quite a few occasions where people would cut our hoses because if the truck was there one day, then an IBC was the next day. So we put sleeves on there to try to make sure. So we had a lot of issues associated with the standpipes in prior to this. What we're trying to do is make them as a uniform standpipe where it's done by ground fitting. A lot of people do use IBC, so it's only a hose from that point to the bottom of the IBC. There's actually a tap at the bottom of the IBC anyway. It's just all we made them aware of is the water that's actually in the hose. If I'm going to lose that water that's in the hose, but they can actually have a tap. So it's a matter of how they can actually load. And the other factor we've also been trying to alert to the public is some farmers fill with weed spray. But if they use a standardised hose, there could be weed spray back into those hoses.
But my question was, how it would have been known right from the get-go that there would be an extra cost for those card holders to buy that hose and fitting. Why wasn't it made known straight away rather than leave it till the last minute? Oh, and by the way, you know.
Through the extensive public consultation, there may have been a notice on their behalf. I'll take that on notice. But also what we did try to do is entice obviously people to use the standpipes by actually reducing the costs overall of the per kilolitre. So there was an offset, I suppose. So by the amount of cost that they're using, they were using it at $7.50 at a minimum rate of $15. At 3 kilolitres as a minimum amount, like $22.50 as a minimum amount. Now we've just gone straight to a litrage at $6 a kilolitre. So there was an enticement to transition to this service.
Can I just make one more suggestion on that? Perhaps needs to be, Twitter standpipe needs to be monitored for the next 3 months. There may be increased theft there. If that's the case, well then perhaps it might need to be automated or decommissioned.
Through the chair, once the automation's in, there will be a report coming back about the tonne kilo and the Twitter. I think on previous history, I think just from memory, I think 1 year we only went through 15 kilolitres of Twitter. So to automate that, you're looking at $30,000 for 15,000 kilolitres, 15 kilolitres. So you've got to weigh up the cost benefit ratio of that, or whether you just close it off.
Councillor Barber.
Yeah, through the mayor, just regarding, I've got two questions, for this one. Regarding the, Morgan Christmas pageant where the extra, path was taken and the extra costs were involved for traffic management. First question is, who paid the additional fees? And second part is, how do we prevent this sort of thing happening in the future?
Through the chair, we told the traffic controller that we weren't going to be paying those extra fees, so I'll take it they've absorbed that, or they may end up trying to go through the local applicant. But as we engage them, they haven't come back to us for the supplement charges, so we're only paying what the original quote was, given that there was an extra $3,000 associated with it. In the second part of your question, in the report that we put up to it, I think one of the points was that we liaise with the applicant for next year. So there'll be a component of what we do when we discuss it with them. We're also looking at the fact is that we may end up using another traffic control company because they have come back to us before when people wanted to change the route. And they've said no on the day, but unfortunately on this day at Morgan, they said yes, or a person there said yes. So there's a breach of the Road Traffic Act and Australian road rules. So we believe that we may not engage with them again.
Thank you, Dave. Anybody else have questions or would like to speak on this item? I just wanted to add the Caloot community. I was speaking to someone there. They're really happy, and thank you, Dave and the team, for all the work you've been doing down there. If no one else has anything to add, we'll put this motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Thank you. 10.2. The recommendation is the Ski for Life major event application report be received. Approval be granted to allow the Ski for Life event to utilise Marianne Reserve, Manham, Walker Flat, Riverfront, Glen White Reserve, Swan Reach on Friday the 6th of March 2026, subject to general conditions of the Council's major event permit. Council waive all costs associated with the event as sponsorship to the charity event, and the CEO be authorised to make minor amendments to the event conditions if required. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Barber. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Schultz. Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak on that?
Through the mayor, I just think it's such a great event, and I think it's important for council to still be supported.
Councillor Schultz, do you wish to speak? No. Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. 10.3. And the recommendation is the Brenner Park Leaseholders Association Incorporated Road Ceiling Request Report on the council agenda be received. Council supports the request from Brenner Park Leaseholders Association Incorporated to facilitate ceiling works for the association through engagement of council's contractor, with all costs associated with the works being the responsibility of the Brenner Park Leaseholders Association Incorporated. The CEO be authorised to facilitate and execute an agreement with the relevant parties for the works to be completed at no cost to council, and note that a further report will be provided to council to consider the ongoing relevance and potential revocation of the roads construction and maintenance of privately owned shack roads policy as part of a broader policy review. Do we have a mover on that? Thank you, Councillor Peak, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor McGregor. Do you wish to speak? No. Do you wish to speak?
It's more a comment through me. It's really good to see that it's sort of at the cost of the association. So they're really good changes that come through. So not well done.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I just have one question. Is it worth us putting a date or a time frame around when we're going to see this policy review done?
Through Mayor Bailey, yes, we did have March in the motion originally, but we just didn't want to lock ourselves in case things happen. But obviously, if that's and there's two policies being briefed today. One, the roads policy, which is part of this discussion as well. So happy for a date to be put on, Dave.
Within reason.
I'll live with the mover and second.
Yeah,
if they wish to
too.
add one. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or wish to speak on this item? But if not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you.
We'll make, through the mayor, we'll make sure it comes back in at time then.
Thank you. Okay. 10.4 is Manning Riverside Markets closure at Arnold Park. The recommendation is the Manning Riverside Markets closure of Arnold Park report be received. The approval be granted to hold the Manning Riverside Markets from February 25 to January 27 on the first Sunday of each calendar month at the Arnold Park car park precinct, subject to general conditions applicable to the council's event permit, and that the road outlined below be closed to all vehicular traffic other than vehicles associated with the event. Approval be granted to close Arnold Car Park to the public from 7 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. on the first Sunday of each calendar month from February 2025 to January 2027, as per the Road Traffic Act 1961. SA Police be advised that council agrees with the proposed road closures as detailed, and to be requested to proceed with the necessary road closure order, and that the following Australian road law exceptions and conditions be sought. Australian Road Rules Exemption and Conditions Rule 230 and crossing a road general, subject to the issue of the road closure order referred to in 3 above, authorisation be given to erect the necessary road signs and barricades. Approval be given for Arnold Car Park precinct to be used as trade sites, e.g. market stalls, temporary food venues and entertainment, provided that all stall holders. See, lucky I read this. All stall holders and temporary food handlers obtain a permit where required and have current appropriate public liability insurance, and the CEO be authorised to make minor amendments to the event logistics as required. Anyone wish to move that? Thank you, Councillor Davis. Thank you, Councillor Barber. Councillor Davis, do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Barber? No. Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. I nearly wasn't going to read it out. Okay, 10.5. The recommendation is the draft plant, equipment and light fleet asset management plan revision report on the council agenda 27 January 2026 be received, and council adopts the draft S1 V1 plant, equipment and light fleet asset management plan version 2. Do we have a move? Thank you, Councillor Myers. Seconder, Councillor Barber. Thank you. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak on that?
I think it's pretty well planned out.
Thank you. Councillor Barber? No, anybody else wish to speak or have any comments? I guess the only thing I highlighted in here was that the analysis indicates that the projected renewal expenditure is anticipated to be $959,447 less than the current planned expenditure over the 10 years. So you're saving $1 million over 10 years, which is exciting for council. Thank you, Dave, and your team for all that hard work. Anybody else have anything to say? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Yes. 10.6 curbside waste recycling services review. I've just been asked if we can suspend this do a short-term suspension just for a quick discussion on this before we go ahead. So I'll just suspend for 5 minutes, if okay with just show of hands, if you're okay with 5. Yes, that's everyone. Thank you. So Ben, do you want to start?
Sorry, I'm starting the clock.
The government CEO.
So yes, obviously there's a discussion, a paper there around our curbside waste recycling, which is an exciting initiative, and really look forward to the feedback from the community on that. There's been a question around transfer station rationalisation and making sure that is included as part of that. Dave has obviously briefed like members on a couple of occasions on this, and that was raised as a discussion. We don't want to make anything too complicated in the sense with undertaking multiple consultation processes and whether we do one and then another. There's also going to be impact from the curbside waste recycling, depending on the consultation and decisions that are made on transfer stations and that. So we've posed some additional wording to make sure, and I think, and I'll open up for the floor for discussion, is that there wants to be a clear message sent that we are going to rationalise transfer stations as part of this process. Now, we can't make any decisions in advance on what that looks like. We went through a process, Dave, I think a couple of years ago, or maybe even longer now, and we want to review that because we've got more usage data. And so if subject to what council's decisions are, we can make sure that we communicate as part of the consultation process that a rationalisation process will occur of transfer stations as a result of this conversation. So I think that is just, happy to answer any questions or.
So is there going to be wording to that effect in the motion?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just watch Carol work her magic. The mouse is going out.
When were the briefings about the waste transfer stations? I may have missed
Way
that.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just thinking
We've been working on this for 3 years, basically.
Yeah.
It's
You
really
would give us the months.
Dave will be able,
All right.
Dave's team will be
I
able
can
to.
send you 14 reports.
That's
Yeah.
great, thanks Dave.
But we did do one in November on this process where
Yes.
transfer stations were mentioned.
Yes.
And then I think there was one in May or May.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, it was
Yeah.
while I was, it was in the May meeting.
Yeah.
And also I'll just mention that, of course, in the reports that Dave's produced, it's clear that when the bins were rolled out, first time the bins, bin collection was rolled out, there was a similar rationalisation discussion went on. And it makes sense, they're sort of they're connected.
Yeah, the thing is, it took a long time before we did that when we first brought the bins out, so it was harder to take it away once it had been out there for so long.
Yeah, which is why it's very important for people to understand that obviously less will be taken, will
Yes.
need to be taken to the
Correct. Yeah.
waste depots.
Yeah.
As a result of this rollout, if that's where the way it goes. Yeah.
So there's some additional wording that's been added there, which says, as well as communicating the transfer station rationalisation process will be undertaken as part of this process, which will include consideration of the closure of selected transfer stations. So we're communicating to the public that we see that there's going to be less transfer station need because of if this gets rolled out.
Yeah.
Subject to.
Anyone have any further questions while we're out of meeting procedure? If not, we will commence formal proceedings again. And I will read the motion. So the recommendation is the curbside waste recycling service review report on the council agenda of 27th January 2026 be received. Council approves public consultation being undertaken for a period of 21 days starting February 2026 in accordance with council's public consultation policy and their developed engagement plan. Council endorses presenting council's preferred service options being urban option B and rural option B, alongside all other identified options to ensure the community is fully informed of the range of service models, costs, capacities and collection frequencies under consideration, as well as communicating that a transfer station rationalisation process will be undertaken as part of this process, which will include consideration of the closure of selected transfer stations. Council supports the inclusion of the proposed urban pickup zone extensions for community feedback as part of consultation, a curbside bin audit to be undertaken as part of the engagement program to support evidence-based decision-making, and a report be provided to council on the outcomes of the public consultation. Do we have a mover? Councillor Tochik McPeak. Councillor Barber is seconding that. Councillor Tochik McPeak, would you like to speak on this?
No, I just really appreciate the addition of the amendment.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed that, sorry.
I just appreciate the addition of the amendment.
Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak?
This is, it was great, the feedback we had on other items, and I just wanted to the people in the gallery, it's very important that we get public feedback on this sort of stuff, so spread the word when this comes out,
Yes.
get people involved, because we need people's feedback.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Schultz.
Mine was in a similar vein. I think you'll be surprised there'll be a lot of people providing feedback on
Yes.
this.
Councillor Warhurst.
I'd also just like to say thank you to Dave for a very in-depth report as well, and I look forward to reading all the feedback.
Yes. Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? No. This is something very exciting. I think I've been waiting for about 7 years for this. Someone who only received one bin and hears a lot about even people that get 2 bins, and I think only. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the feedback and hope that lots of people will be out there spruiking, because we do need the feedback. There is obviously an additional cost, so we want to know that then ratepayers feel that they'll get their value for that. Any further questions? If not, we will put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you. Eleven point one, development and community services activity report on the council agenda be received. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Barber. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Warhurst. Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Warhurst.
I do.
Yes, sure.
I would just like to note it was great to see the Canberra swimming pool attendance being up. My family and I enjoyed our visit during one of the heat waves as well, so I just wanted to note that down as well. I didn't press the button, sorry.
Through Moon Bailey, we've opened it the last couple of days and today as well.
Yeah.
Which is not a normal operating day, but obviously given the heat wave, and we try to do that as much as we can within budget as well. So this is even better.
Councillor Tutchett. Okay.
Just on the collective community benefit fund, I'm really pleased that council's advocating with energy providers on that, because I think at the moment there are overlapping areas where people are eligible for different, and it's a bit confusing and higgledy-piggledy. So if we further that discussion, that would be really helpful, I think.
Thank you. Anybody else have any discussion questions? I had one, Gary. The impact joint funding agreement says that we agreed to reconvene as needed to address concerns. Is that going to cost, or is this just the reconvening meetings? Do you know the?
Yeah, it's just reconvening meetings, just to staff members attending.
Wonderful. Thank you. Other question I had is littering and illegal dumping complaints. It said 13 reports attended to by infrastructure services. Are we going to look into them, or is there not enough evidence? I thought 13 is quite low for 3 months. We have a lot of people say there's so much illegal dumping. I thought 13 is pretty low.
Obviously, we could only respond to those that are made complaints of. So yeah, numbers are just based on what people report to us.
Yep, thank you. That's all for me. Anyone else have any questions? All good. Anyone else before Jeff, just in case that's the close off?
I just make a comment to your point, Councillor Barber, that our views, Gary, have increased on all of that. So your point, absolutely, we want people to provide feedback, but views of our Your Say page have increased, and so people are viewing it, then they're making decisions on not to submit or to make a submission as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, good work. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I actually had something written down and I forgot. Firstly, very detailed report, very detailed report, good report. The building works inspections, is that due to staffing shortages, and what are the consequences of those inspections not taking place?
Yeah, through the mayor. So at the moment we only have one building surveyor on staff, and we have a contractor filling the vacancy that we have. So that contractor, their main focus is trying to do as many of the inspections as possible and make sure that we do meet our statutory requirement in terms of the inspection levels.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of that item. Okay, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. Thank you. 11.2. The recommendation is the performance indicator scheme for the 24-25 report on the council agenda be received. We have a mover. Councillor McGregor, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Schultz, I nearly said Clive over there. Thank you. McGregor, Councillor, would you like to speak? Councillor Schultz, would you like to speak? Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions on this item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you. 11.3, bylaw number 1. The recommendation is bylaw number 1, Mid-Murray Council miscellaneous amendment bylaw 2026 report on the council agenda be received in exercise of the powers contained in section 246 of the Local Government Act 1999, having satisfied the consultation requirements of the Act and having regard to the outcome of the consultation process, the National Competition Policy Report and the Certificate of Validity provided by Council's legal practitioner, the majority of Council in the presence of at least 2/3 of its members hereby makes and passes bylaw number 1, Mid-Murray Council miscellaneous amendment bylaw 2026, and that the CEO be authorised to undertake all steps necessary to finalise the bylaw process and give effect to the newly adopted amendment bylaw, including making and any minor editorial or grammatical changes that may be necessary prior to publication of the amendment bylaw in the Gazette. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Warhurst. Councillor Myers is seconding that. Councillor Warhurst, do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Myers, no. Anybody else wish to speak? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is unanimous. Thank you. Open space and public realm policy. Okay, the recommendation is open space and public realm policy and open space contributions policy report on the council agenda be received. The draft open space and public realm policy version 1 and the draft open space contributions policy version 1 be endorsed for public consultation in accordance with council's public consultation policy and the communication plan. In relation to the requirements of public consultation for the draft open space and public realm policy version 1 and the draft open space contributions policy version 1, should any submissions be received upon completion of the public consultation period, a subsequent report be presented to council for its consideration. Should no submissions be received upon completion period and then they both be adopted. The CEO be authorised to make amendments of a minor and or technical nature as part of the finalisation of the draft open space and public realm policy and the draft open space contributions policy version 1. We have a mover. Thank you, Councillor Davis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Schultz. Thank you. Councillor Davis, do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Schultz? No. Anybody else wishing to speak? Councillor Barber, thank you.
Through the mayor, I just thought it was a little bit ironic that this was in this month's agenda as well as the revocation. I just thought that was a bit ironic that the two were on the same agenda and sort of, yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions, discussion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. 11.5. The recommendation is the review of community grants policy and community grants procedure report be received. The revised community grants policy version 10 and revised community grants procedure version 8 be adopted, and the CEO be authorised to make amendments of a minor and or technical nature as part of the finalisation of the revised community grants policy version 10 and revised community grants procedure version 8. Do we have a mover? Councillor Barber and Councillor Warhurst is seconding that. Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak?
Through the chair, just a question regarding the change in the policy. Is it just wording, Gary? Is it just the wording?
Councillor Warhurst? No. Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions or discussion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Okay, I've been asked to ask council if we can seek leave of meeting by show of hands to suspend formal proceedings for 5 minutes. Everyone agree? Hands up if you agree. That's everyone. Thank you very much. So we are no longer in meeting. Who would like to start discussions? I guess I'll throw to our deputy mayor first.
Maybe just to provide some context for that, Deputy Mayor. So we've worked through the report. If you have a deputy mayor, then by default, they are usually the person that acts in the role of mayor. There's no such thing as an acting mayor, to be clarified. If there is a casual vacancy, then you appoint someone to fill that role and then they're known as the acting mayor. We don't have a casual vacancy. It would just be that the mayor is absent or unavailable. So default is that the deputy mayor, if you have one, and then if the deputy mayor is unavailable for whatever reason, then the chamber can elect someone. So hopefully it gives you the context of that.
And I am probably a little bit unavailable given my two tiny tots. So if there is someone else that would like to do it, because I'm conscious that if someone is elected, that will then fall on my shoulders. So I'm just conscious of pushing that out as far as I can if need be. So yes.
Does anyone have any questions while we're out of meeting procedure? If not, we will return, we'll commence formal proceedings and return. Ben has something to say? No?
No, there's two options.
Oh, you were going to press the timer.
Press the timer. There's two options there. So if the deputy mayor is unavailable, then the or is what I would recommend to councillors for their consideration.
Oh yeah. So yeah, actually, before we resume, obviously you have said that you would rather someone. Would anyone like to talk about whether they would be interested in that while we're out of meeting procedures?
Yes, yes, I would be interested in that.
You would help fill the gap.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else while we're out?
Then that's just to clarify, that's up until a certain date, isn't it?
Yeah. So it would be point 2 where it says or. We'd basically get rid of the top part because the deputy mayor said she'd rather have somebody else, and we'd fill in the gap there with somebody's name. So Councillor Davis
So
said
in
she's happy
March,
to
we'd
be.
go through
A process again.
potentially.
So I've worded we don't get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I've worded the motion so that it's until we meet again to reconvene, subject to what happens with the state election.
So from the 27th of Feb till state election.
And 1.3
Yeah.
is if Mayor Bailey is elected, then this period will be extended until council appoints a member to act in the role.
Okay, beautiful.
I could help out in a part-time role. I can't afford to take time off work. But if I'm not working and something comes up that I could help with, I'm happy to do that.
Excellent. Good team effort. Thank you. Okay, no one else wishes to add anything. We will return to, we'll commence formal proceedings. And the recommendation is there, the appointment of a member to act in the role of mayor report on the council agenda be received. I think we are going with point 2, given the unavailability of the deputy mayor, Councillor Blank be appointed to act in the role of mayor for the period from the date of the close of nominations for the state election being 27th of February 2026 until the result of the election is publicly declared. And point 3, if Mayor Bailey is elected as a member of state parliament, this period will be extended until the council appoints a member to act in the role for the remainder of the term of council. Do we have a mover? And would you like to put the place?
Can I move and can I put in councillor Tim Davis?
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Barber. Does any, would you like to speak on that? No, Councillor Barber, who wishes to speak?
Sure.
Thanks, Councillor Davis, for putting your hand up.
Anybody else wish to speak? Have any questions or discussion on that item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Good. 12.2. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Councillor Davis.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a long one, so I'm not going to read all of this. Like, there's no one wrong word. I think I've read it about 3 times.
Come on, might be the last time reading.
Would you like to read it, Councillor Barber? Actually, I think our meeting procedure says we can ask the CEO to read
Yes,
it.
it does. The CEO doesn't encourage that.
I haven't been on leave before. This feels fun. Okay, so I'll take that as read. Do we have a mover for that motion? Councillor Barber and Councillor Myers are seconding that. Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak on that motion? No. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak? No. Does anybody else wish to speak on that motion? Councillor Schultz and Councillor Toxic and Peake.
I'll read this out. The removal of clause 4.3, especially for the Truro and Canberra CFS sites, is not acceptable to me. Since the CFS has funded any improvements to these sites and the CFS volunteers maintain the grounds at no cost to council, to remove this clause for those two sites means that should the CFS wish to pursue the right of first refusal, then they would be paying an inflated purchase price for improvements that they paid for initially and the maintenance that the volunteers have done since then. It sort of appears to me like there's a bit of double dipping going on there.
This is going out to consultation.
I know that, but I'm just making my point known.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thank you. Councillor Toxic and Peake.
No, my only query was why there's one that varies from all the others in terms of term of lease. I was interested in why that was.
Vicky, you wanna
Yeah.
come up to the phone?
10-year, the 10-year
Yeah,
Yeah.
is a licence because it's on council, it's on the same parcel of land that council building is on, so they just have a licence over that building. So, yeah.
thanks.
Vicky, do you want to speak to Councillor Schultz's comment about
Um,
The concern?
regarding the clause,
Yeah, as in the.
if they're on a portion of land, they're on they are also on the same parcel as our depot.
Yep.
So, and it's depending on whether they're using our building or whether they built the building.
They do, but
But we don't want them having land only, paying for land only when our depot is part of that block of land. So it's the same as Morgan, they're
Yeah.
part of our building. So we're taking that clause out. They'd still get first refusal and there'd still be backwards and forwards. But you don't, they don't have the right to buy at land value only. It would be with our building on top of it. It's never going to come up, they won't, it's never going to be sold. We're not going to sell the depot land anyway. But if we did in some, 50 years or 40 years time, so we're going to sell that block of land with our depot and they've got their buildings on it. You don't want them going in, buying it, land value with all of our infrastructure on it.
and it wouldn't, it wouldn't be possible to subdivide that off.
It could be, but then the lease would be changed anyway, so if they were subdivided off, the lease would have to be redrafted anyway.
Okay.
So through the,
Yep, so,
is it?
no, it was.
Through Mayor Bailey, yes, the intention is just to protect council's assets, not to, take advantage of the CFS or any of the work that's done, because the Morgan example was exactly that, is that they would have got it for land value and was building and infrastructure on there. And the other point I'd make is this is only for community consultation, so the CFS, SafeCom, interested parties can provide feedback for council to consider as part of that consultation process. So we're not making any decisions
Yeah.
other than consultation.
I think you'll find they'll give you some feedback.
Thank you. Any further questions, discussion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. 12.3, proposed amendment. Oh. Okay, the recommendation is the proposed amendment to the permitted use of the lease for the Morgan Institute report on the council agenda 27th of January be received. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Myers. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Davis. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak?
Hey, Ben, where to from here?
Well, I'd like council to make a decision, but it's not a decision-making report. Through Mayor Bailey, we have, as the report says, there's a lease for a party. Part of the EOI was that community access was available. There's been a proposal put, and we went to community and we were told it's going to be very strong one way or the other. It wasn't. It was right in the middle.
Literally.
So, to be honest, it's a lose-lose situation, depending on what we do. My suggestion would be that we would negotiate, as in Vicky and I would go and have a conversation with the interested parties to come up with a solution that works for everyone as much as we can. I think it's important that community access is available for that institute. And I think that would be the starting point, and to see whether there's another solution where the op shop, noting that the op shop also only operates for 3 hours, I think, or 2 hours on a Saturday. So if that was the case and not having access to the community, noting that there hasn't been a huge amount of use, Councillor Myers, but it should be, and I know there's some proposed things this year to be used in there. So my approach is always to try to come up with a solution that works for the most, but sometimes there is going to be some lose-lose. So yeah, that would be my starting point. Is there something that can happen with the op shop in and around that doesn't impact the community use? But I'm happy to hear feedback, or I encourage feedback from the elected members to help me in that process.
Thank you, Ben. Just before Councillor McGregor, I attended the school concert there. I was very lucky to be invited, and it was a wonderful community event. So many people spoke to me about how important that was to be able to be used. So I think at the very least that hall needs to be able to be emptied like I know Truro does that, so that their hall can still be used, because it is very important to the community. And when I put a photo up of it, there was lots of comments about how important it was. So definitely keep that in mind.
So Jen's a member. That's like a. So Jen wants to speak.
No, Councillor McGregor first.
Yeah, just for the minute. Was it?
Sorry, yes. Sorry, yes. No, I thought you were the mover.
No,
So
no.
yes, Councillor, because she was a seconder, sorry. Go for it, Councillor. No, speak now, forever hold your peace.
And I'm looking for feedback.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I believe that the institute should be used for the community. Very strong believer in that. And I think that there are other options for the op shop would be even within the institute and not the main hall. Even the shed next to the institute. So I think there's other options, and I just would like to see the whole hall used by a little op shop that's open 3 hours a week. And that's my views.
Yep, just go big, Councillor McGregor.
Yeah, first through the mayor. My thoughts on reading all the feedback, and it was quite close. But what I've sort of noted down is that we need to invest in our youth and youth using it, and also protect the history that's there as well. So the youth using it and being to know that some history sort of encourages them for community later on, which is what we're all about. So yeah, I would think it'd be a shame to see it closed off to community to be able to use it and all those sort of things. But there should be another solution at all.
Thank you. Councillor Schultz.
I was going, you sort of stole my thunder, but Truro makes the situation work with their op shop in the community, so I think more can do.
Can be done. Anybody else?
Devin, move.
Yes. We told you.
Yeah.
Would you like to finish it off, Kevin?
Is everybody else finished?
Everybody else finished?
I totally support community use. If it's going to go the other way, Ben, don't do it before June, because we've got a big event we want to hold there at the end of the day.
And then don't do it before December because of school. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. We'll put that to tonight. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Thank you. Yes. I'd like to suspend the meeting before we get on to the next motion. So the next item is the revocation of community land. So before we go into that, I'll just seek leave of meeting by show of hands for a 10-minute suspension. Perfect, that's everyone. So we will suspend for 10 minutes. Do you want to start it off, Ben?
Yeah, so as you are aware, there is a report that's been provided. We've undertaken community consultation and we've received communication. We've received a deputation today, and we've also received a petition prior. We had a couple of late submissions that were received and you were forwarded to them. They were received after the deadline, but only one of them was even late on Friday. I want to make the point that we undertook the community consultation in line with our public consultation policy and also the developed engagement plan. That said, there's been some questions raised over the weekend as well around a couple of the lots, and further information has been provided today for your consideration. So there has been a discussion whether you feel you have all of the relevant information to make a decision today on the next steps, which is only recommending to the minister that revocation of community land occurs. So no decisions other than it being recommended to the minister. So there has been some discussion whether this item is deferred to a February council meeting to answer any questions that might come out of either the consultation, the late submissions, or today's deputation, where we could answer them and provide that information to you as elected members. So just wanted to put that prior. That's why we've done it prior to the motion being debated, because then it can just be deferred rather than adjourned. So council can make that decision. So yes.
Okay, council members, do you have any questions, thoughts on that?
Just for clarification before we make a decision, can we just clarify the process and the length of the process? We've been through this once in this term, so can you just clarify the whole process that, you know, from where to go, that at any stage we can stop the action and it doesn't automatically mean if we go to revocation that they're then automatically disposed of?
Yeah, so it's a lengthy process through Mayor Bailey. What you would be doing is considering the community consultation in the first instance and making a decision whether you propose to the Minister of Local Government that community land status be revocated from those parcels of land. As you know, that took 12 months nearly last time we went through this process. And so then the Minister would give that consideration, then they would come back to us, and then council would then consider whether they still want to go through that process and do that. So there's another step in the process as well. And then once that happens, then council can make a decision whether they do want to dispose of any of the assets, whether it's these parcels of lands or anything. And then we have to go through a process. We've got a policy that outlines that, our disposal of, I think it's called assets and land policy, which then outlines the process from there. So hopefully that answers the question, Councillor Tochick and Pete. There's a number of steps in it. Today's decision would be just to write to the Minister. The Minister may knock it back as well.
So it's just step one we're voting on today.
Okay.
To put it to the Minister.
The question is whether you feel as a group you've got enough information to consider that today or to be deferred to the next meeting.
Anybody else? Yes.
Am I allowed to speak on it?
Yeah, because we're out of meeting procedure.
Yeah. So because it's from my area, I'm actually privy to information some of the other elected members may not be aware of. For example, if I may, lot 76 Cancoven, young husband, that was actually used for emergency access during the 22-23 flood. And without that parcel of land being accessed through, it joined up Cancoven with the tracks in the caravan park and allowed the residents from the caravan park and beyond, so Gowlingford, Perseverance Drive, allowed them access to get in and out because East Front Road was inundated. So that was actually the only access point for residents to get in and out of that area. And if that wasn't available, then there would have been many residents would have had to relocate somewhere else during the flood. So yeah, that's one thing I definitely wanted to raise about that.
Anyone else have any questions? Or
I mean, I know that the motion is just about the revocation process. But given that information was sort of coming in on our, phones as we were travelling here, I wasn't driving, so but I could know if it was one of the files was too high. And we've had the deputation, I just think that it raises a few more questions that I had, and I'd just like to see maybe a month or sort of getting it back next month for a chance to sort of to address any concerns through Ben, so that we can deal with that.
Anyone else's thoughts, councillor Walker?
I also think maybe a deferral is appropriate because I have not had a chance to read those late submissions in depth. I've had a glance at them and, you know, you can get the general gist, but I haven't had a chance to read them in depth. So, yeah, I'd like the opportunity to be able to do that properly as well.
Anybody else while we're out of meeting procedures? Yeah, councillor Davis.
Can we defer certain lots or do we have to defer the whole?
My advice would be to defer the whole motion, so the whole recommendation, so that we can provide any further information. And if that is council's decision, then I encourage you to raise any questions early, so that we can provide the information as early as possible, if that's council's decision.
Anybody else? Questions, discussion while we're out of meeting procedure?
Would we have a briefing, it's maybe a special briefing to raise a really meaty discussion before the next council meeting?
Just maybe we can talk about that in the briefing in the future agenda items.
Yeah, because we could do the mid-month briefing. We could have a discussion if required.
Perfect. Everyone are ready to commence formal proceedings? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, we're commencing. We will move to item 12.4.
I consider that I have a material conflict of interest pursuant to section 75 of the Local Government Act 1999. My material conflict of interest is as follows. I am vice chairperson of the River Progress Association, and I'm just by living there, I'm actually also a financial member of that association. I will leave the meeting room, including any area set aside for the public, ensuring I cannot view or hear any discussion or vote at the meeting. I will stay out of the meeting room whilst the matter is being discussed and voted on.
Thank you. You can use the default.
Yeah, I'm going to some indications.
I don't think we'll be that long. So councillor Barber has left the room. Obviously, there's a recommendation there, but as just previously discussed, somebody could also move that the item be deferred until the February council meeting. Does somebody wish to move a motion? Councillor McGregor?
Yeah, I would like to move that this item is deferred until February.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Warhurst, thank you. Councillor McGregor, do you wish to speak on that?
Only just to say that we'll give you an opportunity to digest and understand all of this information to make the best decision that we can.
Thank you. Councillor Warhurst, do you wish to speak? No, perfect. Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions on the new motion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you very much for your deputation today. You certainly have given us a lot more to think about. Hence, we have deferred the item and it will be heard again next council meeting, and you are welcome to come to that and listen to proceedings, and there may or may not be a briefing in between as well. So thank you very much. You can't speak. So.
There's an opportunity for the stance of the meeting.
Sorry?
He's got some hand
Oh, yeah, if you just leave them there and we'll distribute it. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you. Okay, so.
Somebody get Jeff for us, please.
Yeah.
Get him.
Probably got through all thinking they're going to take ages.
He's got 5 minutes.
Just taking a packet.
Councillor Barber, the decision there was to defer that item until next month's meeting, so that will come back to council then. Okay, 12.5 Morgan Community Projects, there is a recommendation there that the Morgan Community Projects Public Consultation Results Report on the council agenda of 27th of January 2026 be received, and the following projects be further scoped and comprehensively costed, with a further report presented to council for consideration: the skate park / pump track, town signage review and upgrade, and Pendle's tea room upgrade. Do we have a mover for that item? Councillor Myers, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Davis, thank you. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak?
As much as I respect the three selections, I can't see how the first one is going to go anywhere to build a pump track even over 2 years for 100,000. Hey,
There's in-kind stuff.
well,
Through Mayor Bailey, that's fair. Obviously, we feel
I was just,
we feel it's going to be above that.
I'm not saying to take it out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that,
It's going to be a challenge.
yeah,
And we structured through Mayor Bailey report because that's what the community told us
yeah.
to do it. So I think that's why we've recommended it.
So did anybody, as I suggested at a previous council meeting, go to Gloucester and Wakery and get figures from them on the new one they built at Wakery?
So my understanding there's been some discussions, but we're going to go through a process subject to the consultation. Yeah.
And hopefully, even if it does come up above budget, there are new streams of funding available at the moment that the town of Morgan would be open to applying to. Councillor Davis, do you wish to speak?
I should have spoken before. Just saying that there's possibly a lot of in-kind stuff that will hopefully happen within the community to help get that thing happening anyway. So hopefully we can work around that and maybe some community groups and those to finance some of that as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions or discussion on this item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you. 12.6, the recommendation is the CEO's monthly report on the council agenda be received. Do we have a mover? Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor Warhurst, thank you. Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak? That was too slow.
Through me, yes, I'm back and well done, dude. Good job.
You missed last time.
Councillor Warhurst, no. Anybody else wish to speak? Have any questions? Councillor McGregor?
Yeah, just from the mayor and TVCR, the meeting with the Murray Darling Association, is there any updates on that or anything that we should?
Yeah, it was an interesting discussion through Mayor Bailey, and we'll come back to you probably in a briefing to have a further discussion on where to from here. So yeah, it's on the agenda to what we do with it, but it was a very interesting conversation.
Any further questions, comments, discussion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour, against, that is carried. Thank you. 12.7, the motion action list report on the council agenda 27 January 2026 be received. Do we have a mover? Councillor Warhurst, Councillor Davis, thank you. Councillor Warhurst, wish to speak? No. Councillor Davis, no. Anybody else wish to speak? Have any questions? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you. Okay. 13.1. Did you see? Just ask the room if they would be interested in seeking leave of meeting for 10 minutes to discuss this item before we go to the motion. Does anybody hands up if you want 10 minutes taking leave of meeting? Just up higher because I need 3, 4. Yeah, that's everyone.
Already started the time.
Okay. Do you want to start?
Yeah, and Gary can contribute as well. The report is there. Probably the questions that have been raised are around the 6-month trial and the suggestion that we undertake another 12, or sorry, another 6 months. given that I think the rationale in the report says to make sure that we have 12 months worth of data, given seasonal fluctuations potentially. And that's where the recommendation was. The previous motion noted that it would be a 6 months trial and a further report would be coming back to council to assess the usage, which is the intention of this report. And so that's probably where we're at and why we've done it. And Gary, you might want to expand on that.
Yeah, and just the fact that where we had the request to change the day at the time that report was prepared, it was seen that a 6 month trial would be sufficient. In hindsight, yes, we probably should have gone for a full 12 months because there are seasonal fluctuations in terms of usage of the building. So yeah, I think in terms of getting a true comparison between the old service and a revised service level, it felt that having a full seasonal assessment would be beneficial. However, if you feel that there is sufficient information available in the report, councillors do have the option to consider an alternative recommendation. It is fair to say that while there has been improved usage of the facility, it's still relatively low patronage overall. So, as part of the sustainability review, the option was to close the facility back then when that first report was presented to elected members.
And that was the recommendation also back then.
Yes, we had multiple recommendation options there. And, it's fair to say that we did consider, options in this report at the time it was being drafted. So, yeah, that's the position we have.
The only other comment I'd make through Mayor Bailey is the timing was considered around the 1st of July as well. So it's prior to caretaking mode, provisions come in. And so a decision would, if the trial was to go to July 1, a report will come July, and council could make a decision before any caretaker provisions are implemented. So that was considered as part of the process as well. As Gary said, it's up to council to decide. If you do feel like you have enough information, you can either accept the recommendation as moved or as proposed, or an alternative motion in some form, and we have some draft wording if required.
Councillor Myers.
I actually fully support this and being extended for a further 6 months for the simple reason that the Progress Association has got an influx of new flood, which I think is really great for the town because it's, been mellow for a long time. And with new blood is new ideas and you might get more use.
I guess my concern is it's a sustainability report. We're spending over $40,000 for around 400 visits. So it's about $100 per visit. And we don't have an office in Truro or in Swan Reach. There's lots of towns that are big. And when do you rip that Band-Aid off? Is council going to be interested in doing that just before the next election? It concerns me that how long we're going to play this out and the cost to other ratepayers who aren't able to use this sort of service. And when I look at the usage, a lot of that usage could still be there with us not being there. We could leave the books there, we could leave the photocopier there, without having to, really spend that $40,000 a year. That's my 2 cents there. Anybody else wants to add anything?
Or is there a community group or community groups that are willing to take over running that facilities that we don't have staff?
I wouldn't say at this current moment, but as I said, there is an influx of new people, new ideas.
That was the agreement way back when with the staff in that they were going to take over.
Yeah.
So how long do you just keep doing it? Is what I'm saying.
I guess my only point that something that hovers over me is the functions of council. One of the functions is to provide services and facilities that benefit its area, its ratepayers and its residents and visitors to its area. So that's something that's just sitting in the back of my mind.
But it's not our facility.
Yeah, yeah.
But in Swan Reach, we have a building that we don't use that we could be providing a service. That's my concern, is fairness and equity to ratepayers.
Are there any other questions or discussion?
We've got 4 more minutes in our short-term suspension.
I did voice some concerns about the, we agreed in a 6-month trial and then agreeing to another 6 months if that suits the thing. Yeah, because, yeah, as we were saying with the sustainability review, it's about, you know, council money or ratepayers' money going in.
Being cost effective.
You know, yeah, the community, it's their building, and, you know, 100% they should be something there, but I don't know whether council should be there, so let's give it another 6 months before we make that decision, and I know the thing the first time round was, you know, pull the Band-Aid off and do that, but that's not, it probably hasn't changed for me.
Well, I'm not convinced really that in a further 6 months that we'll see anything very different, and I think it's just potentially destroying it out. As we've said, the building can still be used by the community, facilities and everything, so it's just a question of our costs associated with that particular building.
Yeah, and on the cost, so we do have a staff member there.
Yeah.
That staff member does do other things, not just service to people. So when they're not customer service, then they are doing their job as well. So yes, there is a cost, but they are doing other things.
Anybody else have questions or discussion before we get back into meeting procedure?
So the 40,000 that it's costing us per year, what's the basic breakdown of that 40,000?
Predominantly it would be salary and then electricity and then materials. That'll be the basic breakdown.
Predominantly salaries. Yeah, if not,
Majority of it is.
Does a staff member use a council car to get there?
Yes.
Has that been costed to that activity as well?
It would be, well, in terms of the cost attribution of service levels, that hasn't been done yet. But yes, there would be that generally towards that cost.
Rock?
Yeah.
Well, this is what sustainability is.
Yeah.
Winners and losers always.
so I suppose what I pose for your consideration is, do you feel you have enough information to make an informed decision? Which you may, or do you feel that an extra 6 months worth of data will change or give you more information to make an informed decision? So there's
Or another report that's written in a different way, because this report's only written to extend the 6 months, not any other decision today. It would be quite hard to put a different decision up today.
yeah, that's fair. The report was written to provide the data, which was the previous motion, and recommend.
I would have thought a sustainability report would be written in a different way. That's why I'm just thinking maybe, depending on council's thoughts, whether it be similar to the other item that we had today, where we asked for a different report back next month, but rather than just making a decision on the spot, but you don't have the information.
One other question I've got regarding this is, if we decide to rip that Band-Aid off, what sort of time frame would that happen? Like what sort of, what sort of transition period would there be?
So with the alternative recommendation is that if you set a date at which you were going to close that facility, I would suggest that there would be a impact mitigation plan prepared so that you can actually transition the community from that service.
What timeframe would we do?
Well,
And also, would it be a transitional service if everything can remain there, the walks, the library, etc.?
well, that's what the mitigation plan would look at.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in terms of what impact it would have, in terms of what services would stop, what services would continue, and who would actually continue them. So, yeah, you know, in terms of that mitigation plan, there would be a certain degree of timeframe for which we would need to prepare and then communicate that to the impacted community. So I think in terms of, and for me, a logical closure date would be the 5th of June.
So it's not like we're going to go, okay, we're shutting down.
That's right. I would say 30th of June, because you do need that mitigation plan to educate and make the community aware that that service will be closing.
if everyone's okay, can we extend for 5 more minutes, just so we can have a really good discussion to get to a good place? Just hands up if you agree, 5 more minutes suspension. Yes, thank you.
So I think there's, listening to the discussion, there's 2 options potentially. We can put the motion, which is obviously the prerogative. We can defer the item and have some additional information around a mitigation plan and the different scenarios, which was part of the draft. We did consider that. But then we landed on that we felt we needed more data. Well, more data might have been appropriate. So you could defer the item, and to Mayor Bailey's point is you could have more detail in the report for those things to be considered, or you could make the decision on the motion for that. Gary, what are your thoughts?
Well, given the fact that we did originally look to include the different options, I would say it's deferring the items so that we can bring a full comprehensive report.
What do you have to do with that?
Well, we won't make a decision as we're out of procedure. If everyone's okay that you've got enough.
Make one comment though. If you are going to defer, and I don't want to put words in people's mouths, you need to do that before debate starts. Because if the debate starts, then it becomes in German. And so, yeah, so it doesn't mean that the motion can't be moved. If it is, and then debate does happen, then, which you can, you just move a motion to adjourn the item, and then that would come back as business adjourned rather than the deferral.
If we are to defer also, the, I'm really hopeful that the answer's just straight yes here. The numbers will continue to roll over, won't we? We'll continue to collect that data, no matter what we decide right now. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, because we've obviously kept it open another month after our last, because we said we'd trial it until, I think it was from June 1st, 2025. So the trial is over and we're still continuing. Yeah, lovely.
So what would be the timeframe on bringing us that?
Depends on what the motion is. So like our last item, if we go back in and someone defers until the next meeting, then there'll be a report the next meeting.
My recommendation would be for you to consider, if you are, rather than debating it, I would defer it, and that way further information can come back in the report, because if you don't, then you come back in the same point as when the discussion finishes. So that would be my advice to the, but you can do what you want. That's obviously.
Okay.
You don't have to have 7 minutes. Oh no, sorry, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yes. Anyone else have anything to say while we're still out of meeting procedure? If not, if all okay with everyone, will commence formal proceedings. We'll go back into formal proceedings. And we're at item 13.1. Obviously, there's a recommendation there, but there has been discussion of an alternate. So would somebody like to tell me what they would like to do? Councillor McGregor, thank you. What would you like to do?
Can we defer and get some more information or report back on the impact mitigation and back to the next council meeting?
So you would like to move a motion to defer this item until the February or?
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
February council meeting. Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor McGregor, do you wish to speak on that? No, thank you. Councillor Barber? No, anybody else wish to speak on that? Have any questions, discussion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Thank you. 14, there are nil. 15, Mayor's report. The recommendation is the monthly Mayor's report on the council agenda be received. We have a mover. Councillor Barber, Councillor Waterhurst, Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak?
Through the mayor, well done. Maybe the last time we get to see your mayor's report, but yeah, a good work.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Barber. I actually did feel a bit slack. I actually got some time off over Christmas, which was lovely. Councillor Waters, does anybody else have anything to add? Any questions about my mayor's report? Oh, actually, I do need to take out the Australia Day lights on the river parade and official ceremony because it was cancelled because of the hot weather, which I was very glad about. It got a 48.3 in Manham at about 5 o'clock when it was meant to be leaving. So, any other questions? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you. Okay, 16. Point 1, the elected members' monthly report on the council agenda be received. We have a mover. Councillor Whitehouse, thank you. Seconder. Councillor, oh, McGregor Davis. McGregor.
That was so close.
Councillor Warhurst, then Councillor McGregor. Councillor Warhurst, do you wish to speak? Yes.
There we go. I would just like to apologise because I missed Andy's farewell on the 21st of January, unfortunately.
No worries. Councillor McGregor.
You can just take the Andy's farewell out of George's and put in mine, so I forgot to.
You guys working together. Anyone else wish to speak or have any questions, comments, discussion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you. Motions with notice. Councillor Kevin Myers gives notice at the next ordinary general meeting of council to be held on the 27th of January. He intends to move the following motion: that Mid-Murray Council supports the proposed future land use and general concept plan as prepared by Wax Designs for the Truro Reserve and Play Space situated on Marundi Street, and council supports the Truro and Districts Community Association in applying for grants to assist with the development of the site, and recognises that the site may be developed over a period of time in consultation with council as funding becomes available. And the rationale is there and the administration's response is there. So I'm assuming you're wanting to move that motion?
No.
Oh,
I'd rather defer or adjourn it until Truro comes forward with the information. So whichever way is legal.
Yeah, I think the motion, we don't want it to lapse.
Well,
but-
if you don't move it, then it
Yeah.
lapses and then we can just bring it back up when that information. Are you happy with that? Yeah. So any mover for this motion? Councillor Myers is not moving his motion. Anyone else wish to move it? If not, it lapses and it will come back and there's.
Yeah, it's really been valid. We're supportive. It's just-
Well, they told me they would
Yeah.
do their appeal.
And I think Dave's followed it up as well.
Through the chair, we actually, when they tabled it in their meeting some months ago, we actually asked for it then.
Yeah.
We haven't actually had it, so we've followed up since their deputation.
I mean, on that day, they should have given you the whole plans of all the playing, which they had. And I didn't understand why they didn't.
No.
All right, so no motion, thank you. And when administration has some information, I'm sure they'll bring a report to us, and then we'll know the risks and the costs and things like that. It should be good. Okay, questions with notice, there are nil. Questions without notice. Does anyone have a question without notice? Councillor McGregor, that was quick.
I do. So I've got a copy of it and I've got it up and said it's going to do the thing. My question without notice is, members of the public have raised ongoing concerns regarding the length of time fencing has remained in place and the lack of visible progress at Johnson's Hill in Manham. So it's just Johnson's Hill that goes on to River Lane. And with some criticism being directed to council. Can the Director of Infrastructure or Chief Executive Officer please provide an update on the current status of the damaged stormwater infrastructure at Johnson's Hill, including a brief explanation of what occurred, whether it's indicative of any timeframe for a resolution of this matter, and what interim or alternative options council is considering to remediate the site, move fencing, noting ongoing community dissatisfaction, and who is anticipated to bear the costs?
I'll take that on notice.
Okay.
Yeah, just give the detail, Dave, I think it's.
Okay.
Yep.
We can't have a quick discussion just so the
Sure.
community
Yeah.
knows that, you know,
Yeah,
just dot point of what's going on.
Dave's got a copy of it.
Through the chair, it's probably been a matter that's historically been there that no one ever knew anything about. Council down Johnson Hill Road has got a stormwater system in, and there's SCPs where it comes out of Priest Street. So an SCP above it, like an SCP below 10 or 15 years ago when the development was put in, the sewer line was smashed through the stormwater pipe, and it was only found when SA Water put the sewer line in. But liaising with SA Water, they were talking about repairing it, and then SA Water gave us a legal letter saying that it was not their repair. So we forwarded it to our insurers, provide a report on that in the future report if required.
How long ago was it sent to our insurers?
Probably 6 months ago. It was when we received the SA Water basically denial of all claim letter. We forwarded it to our insurers and had a discussion with them in regards to that, because SA Water sewer lines are generally gazetted, and this one was put in, and basically the contractor smashed through our stormwater, and just basically buried the problem.
We'll follow that up.
Future report to
Yeah.
come to council.
Yeah, and we'll follow
That's
up.
a really quick question. What's an ECP?
SEP. Sewer something? Oh,
SEP is a site entry pit with stormwater actually enters the edge of the ground system.
Beautiful, thank you.
Ben and I just looked at each other.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Dave talked. Thank you, Dave.
I thought that look was a hurry up.
It was a very big part of Facebook last night. It calls for the mayor to resign.
Yeah,
over
that's right, because she hasn't got out there with them.
My shovel, yeah. It is growing weeds though, so it is a little bit embarrassing now. Any further questions without notice? If not, we will move on. Confidential reports are nil. Next meeting to be held at Manham Council Chambers, so we'll be all good to go.
Yep.
Adelaide Road Manor at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, the 17th of February, 2026.
Yep.
I declare the meeting.
Just before you do, just acknowledge that this could be your last meeting. We're obviously not getting ahead of ourselves, but acknowledge the significant contribution you've made to Mid-Murray Council and your term as mayor, and also prior as an elected member and as a staff member back in the day. And so we'll see how things play out, but I just think it's important that we acknowledge that that this may be your last meeting.
Thank
So,
you. Oh, I feel like crying now. Thanks. I declare the meeting closed at 11:31 a.m. Thank you, everyone.